Hey, hey, welcome to Live with Lynn. So if you're here, say hi. If you're watching the replay, be sure to type replay so I know you were here. I'm Lynn Huber, and I appreciate you being here today. So today I'm going to talk about the best leaders know how to listen for the best results. So I'm continuing on with this whole idea that we can learn from highly successful people. And I love to watch and learn from those who are successful because it doesn't matter if they're in my business or some other business. Success leaves clues. And if we watch what the successful people are doing, we can learn a lot from them. So one of the great things, one of the things that great leaders have down is they have great listening skills. Listening is a surprisingly rare skill these days. Everyone is so focused on themselves and their own ideas that they often forget or outright refuse to listen to other people's ideas and perspectives. And hey, I have to admit, listening isn't one of my great skills either. I'm working on it, but it's not. And one thing about listening is, well, I'll come back to that. Sorry. So people often will excuse their skills as them being hard-headed. They'll say, well, I'm not a great listener because I'm hard-headed or I'm focused on my own goals. But in reality, it's really just an unhealthy habit or an attitude. It's not helping us. And in order for you to achieve success, you're going to need to be a lot more willing to listen to others. So, successful people, the highly successful people, they have that open mind. They have that growth mindset, and they know they're not perfect. They know they can always be learning. And that's what's so great about them. Most of them are not arrogant in a way that they think they know it all. And so they're open to hearing what other people say, and they're open to learning. And that's, I think, what we can learn from the most. So there's lots of things that you will want to be listening to, right? It could be commentary, it could be advice, questions, criticism, and even complaints, or even that subtle listening where you're not actually hearing something, but just by the way people are responding. So you're listening for clues, sort of, right? Just being open, all kinds of listening to see how people are reacting to you and what kinds of things they're saying. And many people choose to simply listen to all the things they want to hear, like praise and compliments, but they don't listen to the things that can actually help them. And it's listening to those things that can actually help us. That's where we need to practice and gain better skills. You need to listen to multiple sources of feedback in order to truly grasp what it is that you're doing right and what you might not be doing so well, right? So just listening to people isn't quite enough to help you further your success, though. I mean, you can listen as much as possible, but if you don't actually do anything with that information, it's essentially worthless, right? So there's two more things you need. The first is critical thinking skills. I mean, what is this person telling me? Is what this person is telling me correct? Are they being genuine and constructive? Do they know what they're talking about? Are they successful in what they're doing? Or maybe if you're hearing the same type of thing from several different people, that's a pretty good indication that this is something you really might want to address, right? I mean, sometimes you'll hear things, people are just complaining or they're just whiny or whatever, they're jealous. There's those kinds of things. And that's where the critical thinking skills comes in. Is this legitimate? Is this an honest thing? But then the second thing you need is action. That's that dreaded word again, right? I know you hear that from me a lot, action. But without action, nothing changes. Seriously, you got to work on improving the things that people give you advice about and keep steady on the things that people like. And so actually implementing changes into your behavior or your projects based on other people's responses is one thing that will really help you achieve more in life. Isn't that funny? When I said listening, you probably didn't think that was where I was going with this, but it's true. Being able to be aware of what's going on around you, what people are saying, how they're reacting to you, and using that constructively and listening and learning from it is the one thing that's going to really help you achieve more. So that's because sometimes it's hard for us to see for ourselves what we might be doing right or not so well. We're kind of in the middle of it. We have that focus. We have that tunnel vision because we're in the middle of it. It's us we're talking about. And we don't always see the whole picture. But sometimes someone outside of ourselves has a better view of what we're good at and where we could improve. So whenever you receive some kind of feedback from someone, find a way to track it, so that you can review and compare responses later on, because this is a process. It's not like, oh, somebody told me I need to do this different, I'm going to change it. It's not quite like that. It's more of a process. It's more of you growing and growing into it and figuring out what's the best way to grow and what do you need to change and how do you need to change it, right? Not just someone thinks that you shouldn't have said that and so you're going to change it. I mean, sometimes that might happen, but mostly what I'm talking about here is growth. So maybe kind of track these things that you're hearing. So maybe put them in a spreadsheet or a Word document or write them down on paper in a notebook or a journal. And no matter what, you should have some way to track the information that you're listening to so that you can evaluate it later on and so you don't forget what you're hearing, right? So that way you can implement it and see what popped up more often and what people talked about less. And then so it's really important to take all of the responses you get into account. You know, it's kind of the conglomerate. It's the whole picture of everything rather than just what you heard. And sometimes we tend to ignore negative responses because we don't agree with them or like them. But very often, they're often pretty realistic and genuine complaints and constructive criticisms. And as you start journaling these things and start hearing from other people, over time, a bigger picture will emerge. And you'll be able to see where you can improve or what you're doing well. Right? And when you're looking over all the files of the feedback, that's when you should be able to look at your own work critically. This is what you need to be able to do anyway, is look at your own work critically and try to fix the things that have come up more than once. If you're hearing the same types of things from more than one person, it's definitely worth you giving a hard look at what you're doing or not doing and start making changes. And while you may not see it as an issue, obviously other people do. Right? And if others see it as an issue, then making the changes necessary can make all the difference in your success. It's all about having that open mind and that growth mindset that we talk about so much when I do these Facebook Lives. And is it going to be easy? No, probably not, right? Is anything easy though? It's a process. The key is to work on getting better every day. As long as you're working on it and you're growing and you're constantly moving in the right direction, then you're good, right? As long as you're moving in the right direction. And for sure, it's definitely worth it. I'm rooting for you. I know you can do this, and I'm working on these same things. So let's do it. Are you in? So, hey, now I'd love to hear from you. Do you find it hard when someone says something about how you're not doing something right? Are you typically open to suggestions? What helps you understand maybe the difference between constructive criticism versus someone just being negative? I would love to hear your thoughts. So please get below in the comments and share them with me. I would love to hear them. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Thanks for being here, and I hope you have a great day. See you tomorrow.